Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Street Tips here, and for the sake of continuity and in the name of exploration and discovery, we're going to try to do a little extraction here. I know I normally don't go after platinum in this slight amount. What I would normally do is add those solutions to my stock pot and then cement out the platinum on the copper that's in the stock pot. But we're going to try to I mean, it is a decent amount of platinum that we're looking at here, more than normal, and that was 20 years worth of accumulation on the jeweler's floor. So we might as well go ahead and try to do a small recovery on this platinum. We'll begin the experiment by putting a small amount of this solution into a beaker. I've got some pure zinc metal here. I'm going to add a couple of pieces right into the solution now in our beaker. To assist in this reaction, I'm going to add a little bit of hydrochloric acid. Just a few milliliters. Looks like we've got something growing in here from that reaction. Some kind of foam is forming. Not quite sure what that is. I'm going to reach in here with a glass rod and stir this up, try to knock this down. That thing's growing a nice head of foam there. Not quite sure what that is. Looks like it's getting ready to come up out of the beaker there. At least we can knock it down. Just pop the bubbles. I'm using zinc to precipitate out the platinum group metals, but zinc is way up high in the reactivity series of metals, so any other metal below zinc in the reactivity series will also cement out onto those pieces of zinc. But zinc is fast because it's highly reactive. Could use copper, and it's lower down in the reactivity series of metals, and then we just cement out the metals, the precious metals, below copper. So, and I'm fairly certain we've got some copper in here, so the copper is going to come out of solution onto the zinc along with the platinum group metals. I'm going to use some hydrochloric acid and rinse down the inside of this beaker. It only took 3 or 4 minutes for all that zinc to get dissolved, so we're going to add a couple more pieces now. The goal of adding the zinc is to try to precipitate out the metals and concentrate them in this beaker. And what we have in the solution back here is a very dilute solution of platinum, and we need to concentrate it before we can attempt to recover and refine it. So that's what we're doing with this zinc reaction in our beaker, trying to concentrate the values out of that solution. See those white bubbles beginning to form? I think that's a good sign that we're getting to a point where the metals are coming out of solution on that zinc. It should drop to the bottom of this beaker and settle out on the bottom of it. Here we are. We have some metal that's settled out down on the bottom of the beaker. So what I'm going to try to do is, it's pretty hot, I'm going to try to pour off the junk that's floating around on top there. I don't think that's anything valuable. So I'm going to try to pour this off and collect the solids that have settled down onto the bottom of the beaker. Come on out of there for me, man. Come on. That junk floating on top is going to try to want to hang on. Great. There's the stuff that we've got down in the bottom. That should have some valuable material in it. The fine powder that's down on the bottom of the beaker. Let's get this junk out of the way, man. Without pouring off the valuable stuff down below. Yeah, I see red in there, which tells me we've got some copper down in there. Get in here with a pipette, get the rest of this liquid out of here. Now let me try this. Let me try to get the solids rinsed out of there. Or the junk that's floating on top that I don't want in with our solids. See if we can get that to come out of there. Alright. Got most of it out of there. Yeah, that red right there is definitely copper. But there should be some platinum in there too. Okay, here's the metal that's been spent on zinc. That red color is definitely copper. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little hydrochloric acid in here. Just a few milliliters. I will add a squirt of nitric acid here. I'm going to cover this up. Set it up on the heat. Should be able to dissolve the metal now, and then maybe pour it through a filter and get all the junk out of there and collect our valuable liquid once we've put the platinum group metals in solution here. That only took about 5 minutes. And it looks like the junk that we had in there just kind of coalesced together. And that's going to be easy to remove now. I'm going to reach down in here, get a piece of filter paper on a stick, get some solution. This stuff is platinum in solution. It's very toxic. Get it on your skin, you'll get platinosis, and it never goes away. Oh yeah, we got a nice concentration there from what it was when we first did this. Here's our first test, if I can get that. Here's our first test of the raw solution, and this is the test after we've concentrated the values. You can see it's much stronger. Now let's try to filter off this solution. Get the solids out of here. Collect our valuable liquid in this filter. We've got about 4 or 5 times as much waste here as what we started with. And I hope you can see that the best way to handle this situation, or this material, is to just add it to the stock pot and recover it when we do a stock pot refining. But in the name of science, in the name of discovery, what we're going to do now, I know approximately how much to add here at a time, and what we'll do is we'll continue on and try to process all of these solutions and get the platinum out of there. Let's see here. I'm going to add some zinc. Hydrochloric acid to aid the reaction. The solution's still got a little color to it, so what I'll do is stick a filter paper down in here, and let's see if we still got metals in solution with a stannous chloride test. I don't see any reaction on there. That dark material is just crud that's floating on top of the solution. So it looks like we've got all the precious metals cemented out onto that zinc. Now what we'll do is pour this solution off into our waste container over here. That looks mostly like copper, but we're going to proceed here. See if we can get some platinum out of these solids. Best way to handle this solution, or this material, is to just throw it in a stock pot and let it accumulate in there. You see all the trouble I'm going through here just to get a little bit of metal out of this solution. We'll be lucky to get maybe a gram or a gram and a half of platinum. Yeah, that's not very much metal in there. I'm just going to add a little bit more of our pregnant solution here. Let's hit it with some more zinc. Let me add some more of this liquid from our flask. Add some hydrochloric acid. Here's that first piece of zinc. It's nearly all corroded away. I've been out here stirring it constantly for the last 5 minutes. I'm adding a few more pieces of zinc. While we wait for all the metals to cement out of this solution, what we're going to do is revise what we're doing here. Instead of trying to pour off the metals to get them out of our beaker, what I'm going to do is I have a specially prepared filter here that fits down inside of our funnel. So we're going to start filtering our solids out of this solution. Here we go. I'm going to try to capture the solids now in this filter. There we go. We got a vacuum. I'm going to pour this now and capture all the solids in this waste solution in this filter. Here we go. Liquid's pulling through that filter fairly quickly. There's all the solids. It's red. Red means copper. I think this is going to work better for us. Rather than trying to pour off this liquid and save the solids, we'll be able to capture everything in this filter. Alright, that pulled through very fast. So what we'll do is we'll save this filter here. And then I'll add this liquid. Still have traces of precious metals in it to our stock pot. I've got a bucket here. And we'll just save this solution in our bucket. It's going to go in the stock pot, but I don't want to put it in with my other gold refining waste because I'm not sure what's in there. Add a couple more pieces of zinc to this reaction. This one has took quite a while to to react, and I've still got 2 liters of our platinum bearing solution to process. So I've got a bigger beaker here, 5-liter beaker. There's a piece of zinc in there. I'm just going to add about 3/4 of a liter, I guess, to this. And let this start reacting in this larger beaker. Adding a little hydrochloric acid. Seems to be helping it, having in a larger beaker. I believe we're finished on this one. This one's still reacting. What we'll do now is add a little bit more hydrochloric acid to this one. Just a touch. Still got a big hunk of zinc in there, so it's going to react fairly vigorously with that. Now what we'll do is I'm going to set this one up out of the way. And now we'll pull up our filter flask and get ready to filter the solids out of here. Here's all the solids that we have in this beaker. It's a pretty fair amount. I don't know if all that's going to translate into metal. I mean, there's probably a lot of copper in there. But we'll gather it all up in our filter, and then we'll go from here. There's still some liquid in here. I'm gonna pull this off and let's get rid of this liquid that's in the flask. Let's see here. Put it in our temporary stock pot right here. This is going to be waste. We're going to add it to this bucket, and we'll add this to our stock pot. There we go. We're going to start pouring this into the filter now, collecting our solids in this filter paper. That's our piece of zinc in there. We'll just leave that in and then work on our next bit of liquid out of our flask. Alright, let's add some more of our platinum solution from the jeweler's carpet. You can see the residual piece of zinc started reacting with the solution immediately. Here's another piece of zinc. We're going to add that right in. Now we're going to add some hydrochloric acid. Get in here and knock these bubbles apart so that foam doesn't come up over the top of the beaker. I'm fairly certain we've got all the metals precipitated out of this solution now. So let's go ahead and start pouring it through our filter to collect our black metals. Our flask is full. Let's get a new flask up here. Alright, once we get all the metal out of the bottom of this beaker and into this filter, this part of the process will be complete. Alright, we're looking fairly spiffy here. Here's our black PGM powdered metal here. It's going to have copper and other stuff in it, but at least we got it concentrated now in this filter. I'll pull it out and try to get it into this beaker. Like so. Let me get this flask out of the way. Again, this is a waste solution. We'll add it to the bucket and then to the stock pot. Now what we're going to do, we've got some hydrochloric acid here. We're going to cover our solids in this filter with some hydrochloric acid. Alrighty, we're going to set this up on some heat now. Let this start heating up. Now I'm going to add a little bit of nitric acid to form aqua regia and redissolve the solids in here. That's three 3 milliliter doses. I'm going to reach down in here and get a little bit of this solution. Piece of filter paper. Now we'll do a stannous test. Let's see what we got going on now. That's not that great. I mean, that's not that dark. But we have concentrated the valuable material from about 3.5 liters down to 1/2 liter. It's cooled off a little. We'll pull our filter flask up here. What we'll do now is try to gather our liquid out of here, pour it through this filter. Here we go. Alright, and we got just about all we're going to get out of this flask. I've got all the solution pulling through this filter. I think this is a good place to call it for part one. We've got the solution pulling through our filter, and this will be our valuable liquid down here that'll have our platinum in it. And so what we'll do is we'll collect that out and figure out how to proceed in part two. So this will conclude part one of the Jeweler's Carpet Platinum Recovery video. Thanks for watching.